The gentleman yields. The chair now recognizes himself for 5 minutes for questions. Ms. Hunter, you said something at the very beginning that caught my attention about China's strategic leveraging and the bottleneck that's been created. We've got access to rare earth elements here in the United States and critical minerals. We have the most known reserves. So it's not a matter of having them. It's what we're able to do with them once we get them. So would you like to comment on that?
We do have great progress, especially on the light rare earths domestically. That's something that's a bright spot. But until we can separate them, turn them into metal, things that are happening in the states that have been represented today, then ultimately we can't use them in the permanent magnets or robotics systems, defense applications, or energy solutions that we want to. So separation, metallization are key.
It's been mentioned that we could get rare earth elements from recycling products. I think we get about 18% of our antimony from recycled car batteries. We can recycle hard drives, computer equipment. There's waste that we can recycle. When I say that, we're talking about mine tailings and coal ash, things like that. Would that be sufficient to meet our needs, particularly in regard to our national security?
So defense demand for these materials is substantially smaller than commercial demand. So without having the numbers, and I can follow up with your staff to validate, we could make great progress using all forms of alternatives. Another way is to decrease demand for some commercial applications through, alternative abundant source non-rare earth magnets in certain applications, and definitely leveraging full value mining as much as.
But that reduces the quality of the product.
But so use it in specific applications, so not for defense applications, so that we can then leverage the higher quality and qualified material for the defense applications in certain instances. So we have to yes and all of it.
If you look at it in the context of economic security runs parallel with national security, I don't think we can supply our needs just through recycling. But I do think recycling is a viable solution. Ms. Sweeney, when we talk about mining, right now 95% of the rare earth concentrates that we produce in the United States are being exported to China for processing. And one of the points that I've made to the Trump administration is that the day we permit the mine, we need to permit the processing and the smelting and the refining. So comment on the importance of a collaborative effort to get all this done almost simultaneously. And that doesn't mean if we start today, we'll have it tomorrow. I work for 2 international engineering companies, have a pretty good idea of how long it takes to build something.
It's really important to scale up the mining and the processing together. That has to be coordinated to really secure our supply chains. China has been able to do just that in their investments around the world and in their own country, and they get the value add of the processing, and that's something we're missing out. And we import $171 billion worth of refined minerals last year alone.
Well, that's something Mr. Hergott mentioned in his written testimony, that we're stalling over $1 trillion in U.S. infrastructure investment. But and there's that the extension of what it does for the economy when you have this. It's not just the mine or the processor or the smelter or the refiner. There are other industries that are involved in that. And it's not just federal permitting, Mr. Hergott. There are other state and local governments that are involved. Talk a little bit about how we need to address this, because I do think this is not only an economic security issue, it is a pressing national security issue. Microphone, please.
Where there is a federal interest, because it's entirely supported by the private sector, these backbone industries, the fact that the neodymium that is in your microphone, we give to China at $1, they sell it back to us at $500, and even as of this month, the architect of the Capitol is going to ask for a waiver to buy more from China for our own hearing room.
I just noticed I'm so short on time. I have another question I want to ask you specifically. You mentioned China's aging processing and refining capacity. I think that's an enormous opportunity for the United States if we will act to build these capacities ourselves. Could you comment on that?
Yeah, very quickly. The Trump executive order is happening right at the same time that this window is opening up with China that will have a 10-to-1 impact on any money that was produced by the IRA, because that certainty is multiplied by the investment that is pouring into the United States that then has a multiplier effect of state and local income and the induced labor. So this is the window to do it. They are retooling and refabricating their processing, refinement, separating, and metallurgic processes that they built 20 years ago to beat us the first time. They can't reach the purity levels to meet the AI, the semiconductor, and as I mentioned before, it's going to take them 5-6 years to do that because they spent too much money developing dirty extraction processes in Mozambique and Indonesia and elsewhere. This is the window to do it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Just as a comment, I really do believe this is a bipartisan issue, and I think everybody on this subcommittee and the full committee takes this very seriously. So I look forward to working with my colleagues. Seeing there's no further members wishing to ask questions, I would like to thank our witnesses again for being here today. Ask unanimous consent to insert into the record the document included on the staff hearing documents list. Without objection, that will be the order. Pursuant to committee rules, I remind members that they have 10 business days to submit additional questions for the record and ask that the witness submit their response within 10 business days upon receipt of the questions. Without objection, the subcommittee is adjourned.